We live in a world where a lot of people want to play you. Advertisers, religion, some personal development groups, and cults are among the many who want to separate you from your time, money, or other resources. Learn to protect yourself. Otherwise, you might find that you traded the farm for a non-existent gold mine. So, counting from 5 to 1, let's take number 5. Take it slow. Manipulators love to rush the decision that separates you from your money. Urgency and scarcity are manipulation tactics, and you're signed to slow down, cowboy. This offer won't be available tomorrow. When we run out, you'll be out. While there are some opportunities that are time-sensitive, most are not. Time is on your side. For example, narcissists love to rush relationships, especially once they see that you are a high-value target. They employ love bombing, often speaking of love on the first date, or will affirm you as a soulmate when you barely know each other. Slow it down, cowboy. It's no accident that timeshare condo sales are made with extreme urgency, claiming scarcity as they tell you that this impossible offer is good for only the next 10 minutes. Right. Time is on your side. Don't join the ranks of those who regret certain decisions because they fell for an urgency or scarcity play. Counting down, number 4, keep information sources open. Manipulators will try and cut you off from information that will help you evaluate people, organizations, and opportunities. In the cult bite model, it's the I, or information control. There's a reason we call con men confidence men. That's the goal, to gain your confidence so they can use that to influence you. Staying open to information sources will help you sort out who they really are and how best to navigate them. When a politician calls legitimate news sources fake news, they're trying to cut you off from legitimate criticism of them, their message, or their policies. When a personal development cult tries to isolate you from friends during the sales phase, they're trying to control information that might be critical of them, their offer, or their ability to control you. Don't fall for it. Keep your information sources open. Religions do this by invoking Satan or some other form of a bad guy. Satan opposes this important work, and therefore you can't trust certain information sources that ironically are critical of them. Or perhaps it's the deep state that can't be trusted. Therefore, they try and cut you off from contradictory information because the bad guy controls those sources of information. How convenient that all critics are evil, and therefore, Dorothy, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Keep information sources, such as friends, websites, or other information sources in play, even if they're not perfect or do have some biases. You need to consider all information sources when evaluating religion, opportunity, partner, or whatever the situation calls for, rather than fall for a ploy to limit information. Counting down, number 3, control the frame. A frame is a perspective or belief you hold about a situation. Is the rain good or bad? Well, the bride whose outside wedding got moved inside might frame the rain as bad, whereas the farmer might frame the rain as vitally important. How we feel about something depends on the frame we use. Manipulators understand the power of the frame and will go to great lengths to shift your frames to their advantage. For example, a religion asks you to ask God if their religion is true. If you don't feel that it is, they tell you that you aren't getting the right answer because of your sin in your life, or you're not asking God with real faith. See what they did there? High-pressure salespeople will present 2 alternatives as if those are the only 2 options on the planet. Religious apologists do the same. Control the frame by seeing how the other person attempts to paint situations, and use your critical thinking to see through the BS. You often see frame manipulation when there's a gap, problem, or some form of a setback with the other person. Do they own their part in the problem? Or do they gaslight you with denial? What problem? Diminishment. It's not that bad. Deflection. Not me. In fact, you are the problem. Mudding the water with irrelevant information or lying about it. Even worse, they may admit to a problem, but do nothing to fix it. Empty apologies are a form of manipulation. If you see gaslighting, you can't trust that person. When people show you who they are, believe them. And if they've shown you that they're gaslighters, manipulators, or deceivers, don't give them any access to you. Watch what people do, not what they say. Talk is cheap. Counting down, we're at number 2. Know yourself. It takes 2 to tango. An honest assessment of your influence vulnerabilities goes a long way towards keeping you safe. Don't be harsh on yourself for needing approval, having strong desires, or trusting people who don't deserve it. These are good things that also leave us vulnerable to deception. Rather than assume the worst about others, or worse, be overly critical of yourself, bring those parts of yourself into awareness with compassion and pristine awareness. In my case, I've noticed that I apply to others the same motives I have. Therefore, I can be gullible. That's gotten me into trouble. Rather than condemn myself with permanent negative labels, I smile and simply acknowledge, oh yeah, I want to believe that others bring the same motives I bring to the table. Oh well, so I guess I'm staying present, and I allow myself to observe all the details I might otherwise miss so that I make good decisions. I did this in my dating life and found that I became aware of so many details about potential partners. I was able to see my desire to be in a relationship and also knew of my tendency to trust when trust wasn't earned. In that mindful state, I became a much smarter dater. And it starts by understanding yourself, your tendencies, but in a compassionate yet fully aware state so that you can reveal the best outcome for all. Knowing yourself includes the beliefs that might cause you to avoid important information sources. Your beliefs about your identity, who you are, shape how you see the world. Why do cult members avoid critical evaluations of their leader when everyone else sees their manipulative behaviors? The answer is identity and desire. Their identity is enmeshed with the group, and they have a strong desire to believe that their leader is something that they're not. Loving, patient friends can help. They use questions and soft influence to get the cult member to open up. But remember, it's difficult to see someone as a manipulator when their identity and desires prevent them from doing so. And finally, number 1, the most important thing to protect yourself from manipulators, listen to your gut. You feel things when you interact with other people. Your gut isn't always right, but you need to acknowledge the feelings you have. When I talk to people who've been played, I almost always hear, I felt something was off about that person. Why didn't I listen to my gut? Well, yeah, why don't we? If we have a strong desire for an outcome, we might push aside feelings that tell us to slow down or reconsider. Hey, she's hot. She's saying all the right things. Oh, wait, my gut is saying, slow down, cowboy. Don't push aside your feelings. A friend who mastered this used to speak aloud what she was feeling. I'm feeling awkward about this conversation, or this feels good to me, or I'm feeling rushed right now, and I don't make decisions when I feel rushed, so forth. It sounded odd at first, but I came to appreciate her vocalizations because it caught others off guard and was her way of being authentic in the moment. She didn't fear disapproval for doing so because, as she explained, I need to be my best friend, and I find that when I vocalize my feelings, I can process life a lot better. Her candor saved her from many problematic decisions. A negotiator did this with a union leader, a guy who loved to intimidate. She was tiny, but carried an inner strength. When the bully would lean in or say things to intimidate her, she simply reflected back to him what she was seeing and feeling. I sense that you're leaning into me to try and intimidate me. Is that what we're doing here? It startled him because she did so in a very calm but observant way. She also stated her desired outcomes many times to let him know what she expected and let him know that she expected to find a path that will work for both parties. Eventually, he changed his behavior and started to act according to the expectation that she brought to the table. And yes, they found the solution that worked for both groups. Listen to your gut and consider vocalizing those feelings in the moment to acknowledge and show the strength you have in yourself. If you have a healthy relationship with the approval of others, it won't feel awkward to do so and may change the behavior of others. Okay, friends, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you in another video.